Hi, my name is Xavier Kataquapit. I'm an Indigenous writer and columnist originally from Attawapiskat First Nation, a remote community on the James Bay coast in northern Ontario. Watje, sabi ka Havidish Nagasan, Attawapiskat. Since 1998, I've been writing a regular column titled Under the Northern Sky, as well as news articles about Indigenous issues, life, culture, traditions, communities, and politics. My writing has appeared throughout Canada in print and in radio. I'm happy to be able to provide you this YouTube channel so that I can read you some of the work I've done on a regular basis. I'll be adding to the channel as I develop it, and please feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video. This is a story I wrote recently on the tragic event that occurred in Attawapiskat recently, when our home community lost its Catholic church, an historic building that had been there for over 100 years. The towering and historic St Francis Xavier Catholic Church in Attawapiskat was destroyed in a spectacular fire on April 21st, 2021. There's a lot of emotion to this tragic event, and most people, including myself, don't really know how to express it. Our feelings are complicated by the fact that Indigenous people in Canada and in North America have a very difficult history with the Catholic Church and organized religion in general. On one hand, these religious missionaries taught us construction skills in building these monumental structures, while on the other hand, they did their best to destroy our traditional and cultural beliefs and ways. These religious organizations, with the blessing of the government, were involved in the kidnapping of Indigenous children into the residential school system, which ran for many decades. My late parents, Marius and Susan, and many others in the community endured this difficult experience. In Attawapiskat, the tragic and dark parts of this religious history was tempered by the late Father Rodrigue Vesna, our parish priest, who served our community for 43 years from 1973 to 2015. Father Vesna came at a time when the residential school era was ending, and the Catholic Church didn't hold as much power over us as it had in the past. He was intelligent, hardworking, dedicated, and most of all kind to everyone. He faithfully looked after our church and presided over many major events in our lives. For those of us who grew up in Attawapiskat, we associate our local church with Father Vesna. He was there to lead us in Mass every Sunday morning and every evening for over 40 years. We also think of the late deacon Michel Gustachin, or Michel Gustachin, a community member and elder who became involved in the Catholic Church in our parish for many years. My Aunt Teresa Hokomal, my mom Susan's sister, played the organ in our church, and she attended every Sunday Mass to perform. I remember times in the 80s when the church was regularly filled to capacity, and latecomers could take part in standing room only. It is haunting for me to remember the harmonized voices of our elders singing Cree hymns during the service. Strong, proud men that I knew as hunters and trappers intoned the low parts, and the women who were normally quiet and reserved sang out the higher notes. The entire Sunday service was in Winnebago and Ninimun, our James Bay Cree language, and Father Vesna spoke it impeccably and perfectly, both in speech and in song. Our parents and our elders had a sense of pride in the construction of the church as well. Their grandparents and relatives had built this church under the direction and guidance of missionaries who taught them the trade of carpentry and construction. They developed a lumber mill in the community, and local people harvested towering old-growth trees from the nearby wilderness. The church was built in 1917 without much modern machinery or equipment. In 2014, 6 beautiful stained glass windows were installed as part of a project involving the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to address the painful history of the church and Indigenous people. The project was led by a local community member, Jackie Hukama Witt, her husband Norbert Witt, and Father Vesna. The newly installed windows added a more hopeful and positive chapter of community history to the building. Sadly, these artworks were also lost in the fire. Father Vezina enjoyed documenting our community, and for many years he maintained a video capturing system that recorded feast days or significant events, such as weddings, celebrations, or funerals. He also collected audio recordings of elders as they spoke to the congregation or the singing they performed. His record keeping also included all the documents that the church kept of births, deaths, weddings, and other religious ceremonies that took place for over a century. I was deeply saddened at the realization that much of this documented history was most likely lost as well. The church in Attawapiskat was a familiar sight for all of us. When you traveled on the river or on the winter road, the sight of that tall, iconic building meant you were home. Now it's not there, and that is a very sad reminder of what we have lost. Catholic leadership has suggested that after the building had been closed in 2019, that a new church would possibly be built. Hopefully this promise can come to fruition if the community supports the idea. This could be a creative opportunity for a healing statement in terms of meaningful reconciliation. I hope you appreciated this story. I'll have lots more coming your way. Чимээгүйс миний визитот манаман дабачман. Ngabata. Achimese. English.